Hi everybody, this is Murugan. I'm a SEBI registered research analyst. I'm happy to present you another video. In this video, I can present you how to pick a stock for intraday trading. Among intraday traders, one common challenge is how do I get a stock in a short span of time? But sometimes people ask another question, Murugan, I'm good in finding a stock. In fact, I know this is a stock is going to perform, but I'm unable to find the key levels. And sometimes the question may be that how do I find the right exits? I hope this video can explain these things in a very systematic way. But I'm gonna use certain tools because if I really want to reduce my time in terms of selecting a stock, then I can't go by a bottom-up approach. Rather, I'm gonna go by a top-down approach. But when it comes to filtering stock, I'm gonna use certain tools. One which I use it on a regular basis, which is our own website, which is EQSIS.com, and in which we have something called analysis, where you find trade signals, sector watch, stock tracker, and we also have a sentimental, sentiment study, which is like a stock analysis, sector, and market study. But I have to present you how to pick a stock under 60 seconds, and then I may also use certain free tools like like NSE website, and I'm gonna get into upstox, which is one of the finest discounted stock broker. I can also use that particular website because the UI is fantastic. Let me start from here. As an intraday trader, I want to find a stock which is in momentum, which is good to hold for a while, which can make me rich in a short span of time. Then how do I find the stock? Because as I told you, I've got really limited time in terms of working with this. Let me first open my Google and just go to global markets. Okay, now if I go to a global markets, the reason why I'm using all Google and free data is make sure that a common man can understand how to pick a stock by seeing this video. Okay, now if I go to global markets, let me start from here. Okay, if I go to a global markets, now time is around 1:58. I think it is very well after the European market open. So if I want to get a global sentiment, I love to see the FTSE, CAC, DAX, which is a European markets, and all three is a negative, or I can say neutral to negative, because I see FTSE is close to 0.16% negative, and CAC and DAX is negative close to 0.5%. So I see the market is pretty much a dull today. And if you see their recent sessions were also pretty much a neutral to negative. I don't see negative, but today it is negative. So let me confine one word. The global market sentiment is a bit negative. But before I get in detail of it, let me also double confirm with our own study, which is market analysis, which is through sentiment indicator. So if I go to market analysis, I see through EQSIS website, a very first thing which opens is the black line you see, which consistently form the lower tops, lower bottoms, lower top, lower bottom. I see there is a negative, and if you look at the negative volumes are pretty much high throughout the day. I don't see any a surge in positive volumes. And if you look at the intraday sentiment, yes, it's formed a kind of double bottom. So by any chance, if a market breaks the recent bottoms, I don't mind creating a short position. That's what I see by looking at the global markets. And if I go to the final one, which is NSEINDIA.com, NSEINDIA.com. If you are very new to market, you can even start from here. What you do is just go to NSEINDIA.com. I think NSE have recently updated the website, and it looks pretty good. And a lot of informations are available just at free of cost. So if you open this particular one, you see the market open bit lower straight in the morning, and you see there is a lower top and the lower tops and lower top, and you see the market was consistently moving down throughout the day. I don't see even a dicey day. Rather, I say it's a very trending, a bearish day. It's pretty much easy for you to arrive the sentiment. The market sentiment is pretty weak as of now. And you see among top 50 companies, 43 companies are declining. And if I take a lot more indices, you can see, but I don't want to get in detail of it. Let me conclude the market sentiment is negative. And if you see the market sentiment is negative, the next immediate thing I do is let me look at the sector, because the sector is very important. So I go to a sentiment study, then the sector analysis. So if I go to a sector study, I think at EQSIS it become much easier. There are a lot of things are available. You don't have to use everything. At the need basis, we may also use it. But now look at this. Bank is pretty much negative today. I see there is a good weakness in bank. When it comes to bank, every other bank is actually on the downside. So that's what the advanced decline. And I see there are a lot of volumes happening with respect to the bank. So the one complete negative thing is the bank is pretty much negative today. You don't see any blue or a green. It's very much negative today. And I think this is the time I look at the bank. How are they performing it? But look at this one. When it comes to banks, they are negative right from the morning. But the most recent bottom they managed to sustain. Now let me take everybody out. Okay, now look at this one. When you look at the automobiles, it's actually the lows are getting slightly higher. So I'm not a big fan of automobile today. Consumer FMCG is pretty much on the upside, so I don't want to work with a short with FMCG. But media and telecom shows some sort of weakness today. Pharmaceutical is also a bit weak today. Cement is also a bit weak today. And if you look at the bank is also weak, but not actually very weak by looking at the intraday behavior. Pretty much confusing, but overall the bank is weak. But when it comes to consistency in moving down, so I can't go straight away to create a short. I should make sure that how are they actually breaking the bottoms. So we have seen some time back market is also a bit weak, but now we have a bank is also a bit weak, but it comes with the condition that how well it actually reacts to the recent bottoms. Okay, now otherwise we have IT is also getting weaker at this point of time. And I see a metal is also weak. I think the broader market is pretty weak, except FMCG and the defensive play. Okay, now I think the big dot is bank. So undoubtedly, now why am I doing this? Is to make sure that I'm conscious about other sectors while I pick up a bank. So a bank is something which is leading the market usually. Today it is on the downside. So I see, if you ask me what I did now, I see the market is weak. Market sentiment is negative and the banking is negative. Now I go to the intraday signals. What I do is, you have a lot of filters. If you are pro in using all these filters, you can use it. But I may also, my favorite is EQSIS bullish list and EQSIS bearish list. Okay, now I'm not in the position to explain each and every factors in this video. If you are interested, if you are a first time viewer of this video, two things I request you: go and check all our previous videos with respect to intraday, and I request you to subscribe our channel so that you get our upcoming videos in your portal as well, and that motivates us as well. Any feedbacks you got, make your comments. But now coming back to the bearish list, I see the list of companies are very bearish now, which is Voltas, Titan, PNB, IRB, ICICI, HDFC. There are a lot of companies, but this too, ACC and HDFC is almost at the lower end of the day, and ICICI Bank and PNB is also the banking list. So if you want to pick up the banking filter, you actually put it this way. So when it comes to this one, I have ICICI and PNB is actually on the negative side. I'm interested. Look, I've taken about a couple of minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but I managed to come to a stock quickly. And by the way, it is an illustrative video, might have taken a slightly more time. But for me to come to this level, it doesn't take more than 20-30 seconds when it comes to real life. All we need to do is just look at the global markets and how are the Indian markets, and look at the advance and decline ratios, and straight away got into the sentiment indicator to got into this level. Okay, now Murugan, the game actually begins from here, because I've got a couple of stocks to work, or if needed, I can actually look few more stocks. But I'm also interested, a kind of underperformer, because I see the market is are pretty negative. I'm also interested in any guys who are outperforming or underperforming at this. I don't see any list at this point of time. Let me actually work with the bearish list. Okay, now that's my favorite now. Let me look at any underperformers across any other countries like Bharti Airtel, Dabur, Wakat Pharma. I think nothing relevant to the banks. Let me actually work with respect to these two guys, which is ICICI and PNB. Okay, this is where I need a charting platform. So what I'm gonna do is, let me take upstox. I've just logged into my demo video account. So if you look at the chart of Nifty, undoubtedly I see there is a weakness. I've taken a 3-minute chart, or if you want, you can take 5-minute charts, no problem. But see, I'm not someone who give importance to yesterday charts, because when it comes to intraday, it is all about today's sentiment. So I'm concerned about from this beginning to this level. You see the bottoms are getting lower as we seen before, and look at the bank, which is also negative, but bank is on the wedge of the bottom, because let me actually take a bank 1 minute. You look at the bank now and take a 5-minute charts. The banks were also negative from the morning, but the banks were not actually losing much when compared to Nifty. That's what I see, because look at this one. I'm comparing this area. The bottoms were almost nearer when compared to the Nifty. So I don't see the weakness being resembled when it comes to bank. But by any chance now, if Nifty takes the push below and that triggers the panic in bank, that will also fall. So I want to take some stocks, but I don't want to straight away short it. But I may be prepared with respect to banking stocks to create a short. And we have seen two stocks, right? So let me actually go to my bearish list. I add these two companies now right away. Okay, now it's not a Bank of Baroda. I'm not interested. Rather, I'm interested in ICICI Bank. Am I right? So ICICI Bank, I'm interested. Then I'm interested in another company, which is PNB. But I think PNB today, it's become 60 rupees. Let me actually look at the PNB charts now. Okay, let me drag and drop. Look at this PNB. Okay, now when it comes to stock selection, I've already explained you. But now I'm talking about the levels. Why am I interested about shorting or creating a long positions? But look at the PNB. This is where it started today. If you see the market started from here, and it was actually witnessed a fall in the early trades, but it didn't break the bottom. That's why I'm not someone who's interested when the stock is moving it sideways to create a short, because I'm an intraday player. I want the momentum to be in the pitch. So the stock has to break the bottom for me, is to make sure that there's a fresh momentum, then I can create a short. But a lot of retracement trade is also available. But make sure that if you're actually creating a short, it actually heads around 61.8% or 38.2%, and it is hovering for a while. And make sure that the stock is also underperformer when you're creating a short, because sometimes a market goes up, but make sure that you create a short. But now if I want to pick a trade with respect to PNB, I love to wait till it breaks the bottom, which is around 59.35. So if I see the price breaks this bottom, which is around 59.40, let's say 59.30, if I see a stock, I short it, then I may probably place a stop loss around 60.50. So 60.5 can be my stop loss, whereas my entry level may be around 59.3. So I'm taking close to 1 rupee as my risk. Then I'm eventually expecting 1 rupee or slightly more as my targets. But before that, let me actually have a look at my daily charts, because if I see a daily chart today, if you zoom in, okay, now when you zoom in, you see there is when I zoom in, you see there is a gap down today, and it's an unfilled gap. It is also moving down. There's a high volume as of today. It seems to be a breakout gap. So I think PNB is one good bet. Even for a positional weakness. But for intraday, if a stock goes down, I have no doubt about shorting that particular stock. But will I short it right away? Not immediately, for a simple reason that the stock is actually not finding or getting a fresh momentum to go down. So let me wait till it breaks the bottom, then I get the weakness to create a short position. That's one classic idea of going for a short position. If not, what can I do? Let me actually go and pick up the other stock, which is ICICI. Look at ICICI structure, which is pretty clean when compared to PNB, because this is actually right from today morning. Although it witnessed a gap down open, it moved down, further it moved down, further it moved down. This was busy in moving down. Okay, now this is a stock which I may be even more interested to create a short position. Why? Because this is pretty much neat in terms of moving down. But this, you can create a short in both the ways. Okay, now I'll tell you one. What you can do is just take an intraday chart of this. Allow the price to break the bottom and you create a short. Take the previous swing top as a stop loss. That's one classic way of doing it. And you expect the same returns at the bottom. Or if someone looking at the retracement trades, what you can actually do is pick up a the Fibonacci thing. When you see the stock heads around 50%, but make sure this is an underperformer. But surprisingly, I don't see this ICICI and PNB was underperforming the market at this moment. But make sure that when a market even heads around the slide of recovery, but if a stock continues to be on the underperforming side, as it goes to 50% or 61%, okay, now that is where we can actually create a kind of short position, keeping the previous swing top as a stop loss and expecting the returns at the nearer to the bottoms. So I think that's how we can again play with respect to the trades. So if you ask me, these are the two trade plans we have for the day. Let me again refresh and see the scenario here. How is it? So when I again refresh, EQSIS.com intraday, if you don't find this link, better you go to Google and just search, EQSIS intraday signals. Okay. And there are people asking another question, Murugan, if I expand this one, I'm getting a trade levels. Can I go by that? Can I go and create a short? Let me tell you one thing. This is algorithmically created based on a general study. But technical analysis is not just going only by algorithms or predefined templates. We have to dynamically look at it. Even I was looking at the bottom, but sometimes we look at the relative study, but sometimes we look at the retracements. So it's not like standardized way of creating a short. It is not a scientific approach. We also have a kind of artistic approach in terms of picking stocks. So I hope I've given you a bit of clarity in terms of how to see the market sentiment and how to find the trade levels. Do you know what is the other big problem among the traders? It's about the emotions, because sooner we create a trade plan. See, as we discussed, a PNB and ICICI Bank looks weak at this moment, but it is not grinding much lower, and rather it is actually moving on the sideways. But I don't get disappointed with that, because I can still have some patience, because when I see this two company, which is the bearish list with respect to the bank, if I have this PNB and ICICI is pretty weak, okay, because these guys are not at the bottom, rather ACC, HDFC is also at the bottom. So when it actually goes down, I can actually create a short position. But Murugan, I don't go by the sectorial study, man. I'm okay with the momentum guy. Then if that is the case, I request you to check out with the option like EQSIS bearish list and underperformer. Okay, or EQSIS bullish list, outperformer. Okay, you don't see any combinations, or intraday buy stocks with the outperformer. I think BPCL is one company which is also in the buy list, because the stock is reasonably performing and it is also outperforming the market. Let me show you how it happened. Let's take a bullish list. Okay, now let me go to a bullish list, and okay, now let me take indices. Today, if you look at the indices, almost all the indices are negative. But anyway, now go to BPCL. If I go to a BPCL, today look at the stock. It was actually now recovered smartly today. It was in fact witnessed a deep cut in the morning, and it recovered smartly throughout the day, and it is now trading higher. And this is a stock is now trading as per the EQSIS. We see this is one good buy stock, and it is also reasonably outperforming the market. So this is a really good stock. But how do we come into this stock? That's why we use scanners and filters, because the scanners and filters can actually crunch a lot of data and present as 2 or 3 stocks. But if you ask me, can I go and straight away trade? I don't, because I don't see the structure well in terms of going for intraday position. Let me actually look at another companies here. Anybody is into intraday sell with underperformer. Yes, I think Vedanta, Bharati Airtel is actually going in line with overall market sentiment. So let me have a look at it, Bharati Airtel, because it makes a lot more sense when compared to BPCL, which is against the market. Okay. Okay, now let me go to Bharati Airtel. Okay, now when I go to a Bharati Airtel, okay, now this is a classic idea to work with, because Bharati Airtel now it's trading around. I see the stock is trading around. Let me expand it. 338.85, and if you see, the weakness started from here in the morning, and it was grinding like this. But the last half an hour, 45 minutes, it witnessed a deep cut. Now, how can I short it? Can I short it right away? No, I don't short it now. Rather, I see the stock to consolidate, break the bottom, I can create a short. If you are a retracement trader, then what you can actually do is, just take the Fibonacci retracements and look at the top. Let me take it. Okay, now look at the level from where it started and the bottom. Keep it here, and you see the price tends to around 52, which is where we see the previous bottom. So when I see the stock trading around the 50% mark, okay, now and then you can actually consider seeing some weakness. And if you see the stock further becomes the underperformer, even around 50 to 61%, if a stock continue to be underperformer, I mean, when you see the stock trading around 61.8%, go to EQSIS and then refresh the page, and but this is not the time. You have to wait for a while, let the price go to 61.8% and just refresh that. Okay, and when you refresh it, make sure that the time is slightly near to your location. It's not a real time, but still you can refer this. And what you can do is check out the underperformer, make sure that you get the stock. Okay, now Bharat Airtel is not the pitch now. Okay, now it is not that underperforming it. But when I see the stock heading around 61.8% or 50%, and if it still happens to be an underperformer, I don't mind creating a short position, and I can keep a prior bottom as a stop, top as a stop loss. See, either way, whether you use the sector or not, make sure that you go in line with the market. But if you use the sector, you get an added advantage because sometimes the sector may be in limelight, and you can go by that. But make sure that you create a short only when there is a weakness through underperformance or while breaking its bottom with some volumes. So I hope you got some idea in terms of how to create a short, how to create a trade on a live market session. So I hope this gives you an idea in terms of stock selections. About emotions, once you create a trade plan, it's needless for you to track each and every minute because you already kept your target and stop loss. Okay, Murugan, does it mean by staying away from the market, I can be sure of getting my targets? Not necessary. Sometimes it triggers your stop loss. Not for you. In fact, for us, sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes we lose even more. It happens sometime in some months. But when you be consistent over a period of time, just being right by 55 times and 58 or 60 times with proper risk reward ratios and being consistent, there is an edge. We believe in that margin profit. So never worry about the losses, failures, but make sure that the losses were under your grip. So if you have a proper risk management, you can do that. For you to understand the risk management, you have another video which is a stop loss related video with EQSIS. You can actually learn from there. Hope you find this video useful, and thanks for watching all this video. Thanks for watching it again. Yeah. Hi everybody. Now I'm actually recording another video in continuation with our previous video, which is how to pick a stock for intraday trading in a short span of time. Where if you see, we have talked about a couple of stock because a PNB and ICICI. The stock selection was pretty clear using our previous video, and we have also figured out the stock selections. And if you look at this, we originally thought of creating the stock was actually trading in between here, and now I'm recording after 10, 15, 20 minutes. I see the stock is again actually heading to the bottom. It's about to break the bottom. So as we discussed, when it comes to ICICI Bank, the structure was pretty negative. So we thought of creating a short position using the Fibonacci retracement levels. So what we did is we were actually taking the highs and lows, and we were looking at 61.8% to create a short position, keeping the top as a stop loss. So by any chance, if you did on that grounds, I hope you see the stock is coming down. This is one such probably a good trade, and as expected it pan out. But many times it disappoints as well. So be prepared for the failures, but this is one which has come out classically on the downside. And for those who love to trade on the momentum, you see now I present you, this is a good idea to create a short even now. Okay, now even if you short the stock as it heads the bottom, it can even probably get lower, but make sure that you keep a stop loss around that a 395 or 96. And this is how this stock is actually panned out. Let me actually get into PNB now. Let's see what really happened in PNB, because we have seen a PNB was actually grading lower. See, when it comes to PNB, we have not decided to short at the 61.8%. Rather, we have decided to short as it goes below the low, but it didn't turn out to break the low. So I'm not interested in breaking the PNB. So we are interested when it comes to, ICICI, because ICICI was actually given us a good opportunity at retracements to create a short position. And we have also seen a Bharat Airtel, which was another company we have at last we were looking at it. When it comes to Bharat Airtel, I see the levels were pretty much clear. Even you see that my sketching was pretty clear. It was actually down and it went up all the way at 50%, witnessed it. And sometimes we wait till at 61.8%. Now it actually witnessed at 50% because few reasons. Maybe this stock had the previous bottoms at this. So it is quite likely that it takes a 50%. Sometimes it happens 61.8%. But yes, this ambiguous sometimes make you miss the trade. But if it breaks the bottom, you can still create a short. If not, you would have created a short, then you can actually hold this 100% mark, which is the previous swing, as a stop loss, and you can hold. So these are all the ways by which the trades are really pan out. Let me summarize what exactly I've did in my things. Okay, now the very first thing what I did is, if you look at me, the very first thing what I did is, it's about stock selection. So I've just got for a stock selection. How I did it, it's through a top-down approach. I'm right. I did it through a top-down approach. So I was actually looking at the global markets, and then I was looking at the Indian markets. Then if you remember, I was actually looking at the advance and decline. I don't know whether I've explained it or not. I look at the advance and declines, and if time permits, you can actually look at the FI activities. And if you're interested, you can even look at the crude, USD, and you can also look at any other commodities are in action. But to make it simple, the very important thing is actually the global markets and Indian markets are very important. So this is how I actually try to pick up things. So when I get to know the market is actually negative, when I see the market is negative, then I was looking at the sector which is very negative. So that's how I was working with respect to this one. So when I know now the sector is let me take the pen. So when I know the sector is negative, which is the bank, the moment I know the bank is negative, there I got the stock which is PNB and the ICICI. So I've got ICICI. So among PNB, the PNB was something which was actually in the down, then it was actually trading like this. So I was looking at the bottoms to actually create a short position, but it didn't happen. Even now it is actually trading like this. And if it breaks the bottom, then I probably take this as a stop loss. Okay, now that's one way by which I can look at it, because this too is on the bearish note. But other one, ICICI, was actually, if you look at this ICICI, it was actually moving like this. The structure was very good. So when I was looking at the stock was like this. So what I did is I was taken the Fibonacci retracement. I said 61.8%, and then you actually expect this downside. So you get it an early trade, and you can expect this short swing to make money. That's one fine way of even trading that. And this too is actually done after we selected the we have did the complete sector analysis, everything. But apart from that, what we did is we got into if you see, we straight away did the market study and using a trade signals. So if you look at the trade signals, okay, now let me actually go to a trade signals here. If you go to a trade signals, okay, now when it comes to trade signals, the underperformance and outperformance are very classic thing. If it in combinations with respect to the bullish and bearish sentiment, it becomes wonderful. And you can also look at the gaining momentum and losing momentum is also fantastic for people. We also have something called finding resistance and gaining strength. This is very classic thing, because on a short-term perspective, sometimes what happens, those who look at the open interest, we know the high call options and the high put options getting built up here. Okay, and we call this area as actually the resistance, and we call this area as a support. This is actually from a positional perspective, but any stock which is currently trading near to this level and actually witnessing a kind of weakness will actually come to you as a kind of facing resistance, or any stock which is trading here and witnessing a kind of bounce will actually come to you as a finding support. So this is not just from an intraday perspective, this is also in combination with the derivatives, but the open interest is not taken on a real-time basis. Rather, we use a positional open interest built as on yesterday. So this is one classic indicators which you can see. So if you see now, the Bharat Airtel is again on the wedge of down, and let me actually look at the the PNB, how the PNB was actually performing it. I hope you get you may also have some comments to pass. Make sure that you present it at the bottom, so that actually gives us rough idea, like what next is needed for you people to work. So I request you people, I don't know, something went wrong here. ICICI Bank. So let me change the workspace here. Okay. Oh, maybe I have limited connectivity, some issues maybe. Okay, now hope you like this video, and I hope you got some idea about stock selections. So I request you to write your comments at the below section, and use the comment section to actually interact with other people as well. But if you got any more live sessions, make sure that you represent it. I can also present you a morning session or even noon session, or even we have a plan to how to find a trades using a high volatile day or low range days. Hope you express what you really want in the comment section, and do share this video, because more the members see, and that motivates us, and that actually brings people like us to develop more videos like this frequently. Thanks for watching this video.